to Marketing Adventures with Carmel. This is a place where we hop in and bring you some amazing business builders and entrepreneurs that can help you gain some insight through their journey and also some absolute amazing tips in how you can grow your business even more. Now, if you're on social media anywhere and you're watching this, hit that like button, that thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell so you can be notified and alerted when all of this gold is being shared. Now, why reinvent the wheel? Why are we trying to do it all on our own when we can gain so much from these amazing people? So my name is Carmel, your host, and my guest today is the amazing Nik Cree, from the creator and owner of Business Owners Smashing It Online. Welcome, Nik.
Thank you very much. Really good to be here, and it's been so long since we've seen each other. But I keep on seeing your show all over the place, so it's awesome to actually get here and be featured on it.
Awesome. It's so exciting. I was so excited to get you on because we've known each other, I think it's 2 or 3 years now. Feels like a lot longer.
Actually longer. It must be about 4 or 5 years now.
Is it? Oh my God.
Yeah.
How does time just goes by so quickly? But I know, Nik, you were my saving grace in the beginning of one chapter of my journey. I was like, I don't know the techie stuff. Nik, can you please help me? And you were instrumental in actually helping me set up my CRM and doing some website stuff that got me out of a huge hole, can I just say? So thank you for that. Now, so allow me to hand over to you and introduce yourself, as into you're here, you have that amazing group, you're growing your business, but who is Nik and how did he get here?
Oh, that's a really good question, isn't it? I sometimes wonder that myself. But I suppose I've been in the online space or digital space now. Did a bit of a count up. It's well, certainly in the IT space since 1979. That was the first time I touched a computer. And the first line of code that I ever wrote was back then, so it feels like it was when they launched rockets to the moon. I was on some of those programs, but that was my introduction. But I became really interested in digital marketing back in the late 90s when I established my business, or my first real business, which is a mortgage broking business in New Zealand. And I had decided that I was going to do things a wee bit differently. So, the traditional way with finance and mortgages, you go and ring people up and do all this cold calling, you go and see people. And I thought, I'm going to try this internet stuff. So I ended up actually going to the States and meeting with someone who is a real influence for me. And that was Jay Abraham, if you've ever heard of him. So I met him in the States and was at a conference with him. And that really sort of started me on the journey with a whole lot of names that have been around forever online. And I remember, downloading PDF documents that used to get back in the day. And, they would be sort of like a ream of paper printed out. And it would be, 101 secrets to, online marketing, or, 65 email tips to, get your emails open, those sort of things there. And I would stay up till like 2, 3 o'clock, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning, devouring this information. Then I'd be back at the office at 6 or 7 in the morning to run my standard business. But the upshot of all that was I created a website for my business. I'd never done that before, and ended up with taking that company to a national company before I sold it. I had no experience at all in mortgage broking when I started. I hadn't even come from the banking industry. I didn't even know banks paid commissions to mortgage brokers. So that was 3 years in before I realized that they do that.
Hang on, they're going to give me more money.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
They didn't back pay me though.
Yeah.
But I ended up selling that business 10 years after I set it up. I had a national company, so I was represented all over New Zealand. And we're running events all over New Zealand and had clients all over New Zealand as well. And the year that I sold it, I was awarded the runner-up mortgage broker of the year. And that was all on the back of my online and digital strategies that I'd implemented in the business. And in fact, I was a market leader. Our business was a market leader in New Zealand for submitting loan applications. Because they all had to be done by fax. If you ever remember sort of the old day of faxes.
Gosh, I do.
And they used to get stuck, and you get sort of 3 pages going through at once. You have to flick through and wonder which ones did they get and which they didn't. So I sort of thought, well, why don't we email it? We've got this new thing called email. Why don't we just scan it and email it? So did that and sent it to one of the banks, and I got a phone call about 2 minutes later and said, oh, look, we can't accept this. We only accept faxed applications. And I said, oh, well, no worries. I'm going to take it off to sort of another bank. And I mentioned the bank's name. And he said, oh, let me see what I can do. And so we were getting prepared to send off to the next bank. And then about 5 minutes later, he rang me back and said, oh, look, just this once, we'll accept this, but you need to fax them every other time. But, we'll do it this once. And it was a reasonable sized deal for them as well, too. And so we never faxed another application again. So that set the precedent, and we emailed them all. And, we'd gone paperless in the office and really using sort of, digital systems then. So, I was really bitten with that bug. And then when we came to Australia, I actually bought a publishing company. And that was one which was hard copy again. We're sending out like a ream of paper with really good marketing material in it for small business. And but really quickly, people were finding this information online. So, there's this thing called Google. They were looking for it. It was free. I was publishing a magazine and writing, a magazine once a month for businesses. And it was really just a massive decline in people actually paying for this because they could get it for free. And I had a business partner at the time, and I sort of said, well, I think we should investigate going online. And he was really anti it. He said, no, people will steal our information. And, it's like we can't do that online. There's no value in it if it's online. People want the physical stuff. And so we had an argument about it all. And in the end, we parted ways. And I ended up setting up a web development company. That was back in 2000 and into 2008. And business I still have today. And, more recently, at the start of the pandemic, set up a digital training and transformation company. So we work with businesses, teaching them how to leverage some of the online tools, strategies, processes, and all of those things they need to do to be successful online today. And I have to say, there is no better time to be online. When I started, it cost me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in machinery and equipment and software. And, it used to go out of date. You have to stick a floppy disk into your computer to update it. Some people probably don't even know what that is.
I'm laughing because I do. Yeah.
But these days, the apps and things that we used to pay thousands for are available for like $20 a month, $30 a month, that sort of thing there. It's just so accessible. But the really good thing is that not many people in business know how to leverage them and use them, which means that people that do have very quickly have a massive advantage in their industry. So I love that aspect of it all.
Yeah. And awesome. And I didn't know that part about in New Zealand or whatever, but it's such an amazing journey that you've been through. And look, I'm just laughing at this thing called Google, and there's no value in it. I'm still there laughing. And look, I know, as I said, one of the things that I found about you when you did help me as well is you seem to really grasp things and chunk them down and make them really simple and easy to understand. So that to me is a great skill that somebody has, because people are overwhelmed with all of this stuff online. As you say, it's a great time to be online, but God, it's bloody busy.
It is.
Yeah, how do you, before we get into some other stuff, but how do you find is the best way to stand out online?
The best way, I think, is, let me put it, think of a scenario or explain a scenario. I have so many people that come to me and they say things like, look, I tried Google ads, I tried Facebook ads, I spent way too much money in there, I didn't get any return out of it, I would have been better off not putting my money into it. So my question to them always is, so what was your strategy with it all? What do you want to achieve? What was your outcome? And then there's this blank
silence.
Look there. So, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So and really that, so ads and paid ads are really just a tactical thing. It's just one thing you can do of many things, but you really need to have a cohesive strategy so that you know who you are, what your brand is, who you're talking to, what you're doing, and then really consistently book in times with yourself to execute and implement that strategy. So and look, it's not as difficult as people think. People think strategy, big document, sort of 100 pages, put it in the drawer, never read it again. It's not like that. You should be able to write it down on one page. In fact, you should be able to explain your strategy in a few sentences, and people will understand it. So for me, my biggest secret in terms of visibility, and this is for small business, and most people I work with are small to medium business owners. They're the entrepreneur, they're the business owner, they're the ones that are actually driving the business, and they're the face of the business oftentimes. So what really distinguishes you from another business that's the same? And generally the thing that really distinguishes you is you, like yourself. So really, and people don't do business with companies and businesses. They do business with people generally. So even big companies are like that too. You've got someone that forms a relationship with them. They like you, they know you, they trust you, and they think, hey, look, I'll deal with you. I don't know other people over here. I know you, I trust you, so I'll deal with you. So that's the first thing to remember is it really is about developing those relationships with people. So my favorite way is I am a social media whore, I guess you could say. I'm all over it. And people sort of think that I'm always on social media. They sort of say, well, when do you get any work done? You're always there. But it only appears that way. So it's a bit of a magician's trick there. You sort of sleight of hand, and see stuff over here, but actually there's a lot of stuff happening on the other side. So, but one thing that is important is I consistently book myself every Tuesday at 10 o'clock to do a Facebook Live on Facebook. So you rock up to my page and you'll see me there at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. And then for the rest of the time, I repurpose a lot of content. So I run a Tuesday night webinar called Business Owners Smashing Online. We get guest speakers that come along, great guest speakers like you. In fact, you've been along as one of our guests.
Yes.
But what we do with that is that's just really a start to creating some fantastic content. So we've got a video there which we'll upload to our YouTube channel, goes into our membership site, strip out the audio, goes into our podcast, and then we upload it to another app called otter.ai. That transcribes everything on that webinar, so like an hour and a half's worth. And you can download that as a Word document, and inside that there's a whole lot of gold there, which is really our social media posts for, it could be for a month or 2 months worth, but we use it for just 7 days. So we'll go through the social media posts and we'll grab out sort of snippets of information that are, all the gold gems that have come through from our speakers, the occasional one from me. And we'll put that, we'll put it together with graphics or we might create a whole post out of it, and we'll post that. We'll schedule it on social media. So we've got probably about 10 to 15 pieces of content that are going out on social media every single day. So, they go into people's groups, they go on our pages, on our profile, and it's all scheduled. So, we don't have to recreate it. It's already done. All we're doing is cutting and pasting the pieces that we've got. And I've got, a team of 2 people over in the Philippines, and they do all of that work there for me. And even if I did it would probably take me maybe 4 or 5 hours in a week.
Few hours. Yeah, absolutely. I do the same. And I'm sure in YouTube there's a little tip on the side. There's actually where the 3 dots are. You can actually cut and paste the transcription out of there too.
Yep, YouTube does it all as well too. So you can just use that, and that's good enough. So, but there's so many things you can repurpose your content to do that it's really hard not to be visible. It's easier to be visible than it is to be invisible online. And one of the things that, well, I've sort of worked on it, but I actually haven't worked that hard on it. If you Google my name, every single listing for the first 8 pages on Google for my name are me. They're references to me. And that's sort of like a side effect of, just publishing content everywhere. So, if you're on YouTube, social media, Scribed, LinkedIn, Facebook, website, iTunes, Spotify, a lot of that stuff, or most of it all gets indexed on Google. So it all ends up there. But the other places as well, too, is I'm a member of a networking group called BX Networking. And my profile is in there. So that gets indexed by Google as well, too. It's not even my property. This is someone else's website. On shows like this, like I'm often on webinars and podcasts, the authors of it or the owners of it publish that, and they'll mention my name in it as well, too, as the guest. That all ends up on search, too. So all of these opportunities are just things that are so easy to do. And to capitalize on it, and it just gives you so much traction. So it is quite easy once you've got a strategy. And one of the things that is my aim is to be on at least one podcast or webinar a month. And so that'll give me 12 pieces of content there that are likely to get indexed in the search engines.
And that you can unpack. And if you're being interviewed, for example, even this interview, you can take this and you can take snippets out of it too. I love that. And making even like Canva is a great tool to use, as you know, taking the quotes, put it in there. There's so much to do, but I find people quite often get overwhelmed as well. Let's be honest about it. They go, there's so much to do. Now, you know me, at the moment, I'm really all over video, because as I was going up and trying to get more visible, people are in a hurry. They want quick, easy now. So to me, video is just one of the quickest, easiest way to jump in and grab somebody's attention. But before we were on this interview, we were talking about, and something that was really intriguing when you said, it's how to generate an extra $100 per day in your business, even if you're not techie. Now, before we go into it, I just want to say, as you said, somebody had said, I wouldn't get out of bed for $100. But if you have a strategy, and I agree with you about strategy is my thing. Strategy is what I love doing. But if you have a strategy to do that extra $100, then once you've got that flowing, you can build another strategy to do it, and another one. And as we said earlier, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a bloody time. So tell us I know you said you have about 25 different ones, but tell us 3 to 5 of your ways of generating an extra $100 in your business, even if, like myself, I used to never be techie, although I am a bit now, Nick. I used to never be techie, and this is for small to medium business owners, guys. We're not talking about the big corporate companies. We're talking about those small to medium business owners. Go ahead, Nick.
And this is sort of like what they used to call, I think it was Conrad J. Levinson, called guerrilla marketing tactics. So you don't need a big budget. Like when you've got all these large corporates spending millions of dollars on their marketing, small business can be really agile and get in between all the gaps and the cracks there, and really so find the places where it's difficult for big business to maneuver, and it takes them a long time to do that. So. So some of the things that you can generate $100 a day. Now, $100 a day doesn't sound like much, but do it every day consistently. Then that's $36,500 a year. So it's a considerable sum of money, and and it's just doing something consistently every single day. The small things every day, and the small things mount up to big things. And it's not just adding to it, it becomes exponential. So, as you do something that, creates that $100 or whatever it happens to be, and then you add something else on it, it's, it compounds on top of it. It's not just a 1 + 1. It's like, 2 squared, so, but, equals 4 type of thing. So, so here are some ideas for it as well. There's let me just talk about some businesses that have done this. So there was a catering company in Sydney, and they only worked in Sydney. So that was their market, and in fact they only worked in sort of a local area in Sydney, that they could travel to. And so one day the owner of the business, like we were, so working it all through, he thought, not working in Melbourne. So why don't I approach my competitors in Melbourne and ask them if they would like to me to put a line on my website which said, now open in Melbourne, and the Melbourne competitor's phone number. So he went and asked, one of his competitors there, and thinking, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? Because it's free marketing, free advertising. Because what would happen is people all over the country would find his website, and so if he's in Sydney and they're in Melbourne, they're not going to order anything off him. They're going to go and carry on and look for a Melbourne company. So so by having that phone number on, it means they get to his website, and then there's a Melbourne number, so they'll ring that and go through to his competitor's site. And he didn't want anything from the competitor in terms of money or commissions or affiliate, so he got no money from the competitor. The only condition he had was that if he was to put that on his website, they had to put on their website, now open in Sydney, and put his phone number in. Now, that one strategy did not generate an extra $100 a day. It generated over $1 million a year. So really, really simple strategy. And it took less than 5 minutes to implement. Super, super simple. And, just had a result that was really mind-blowing, really.
Wow. Yes. So simple. Isn't it amazing when you hear something out loud, you go, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? That's so simple.
Yeah,
but it is so simple. Yeah.
And often they, and that one there, how techy is that? It's not very techy at all.
Even I could do that, Nick. Yeah.
So another one is, let me think. Yoga studio on the Gold Coast. And remember, sort of during COVID there, all these businesses shut down. I don't know what it's like for you over there, but over here, all the businesses had to shut down, especially businesses in that industry there, because they, had close contact with people. So, the woman that owned it sort of thought, well, I'm going to get no business or no income over this period. I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm going to go broke. How am I going to live and how am I going to survive? So what we did with her was to say, well, why don't you just take it online? You've got Zoom there, and people will use Zoom. She said, no, people just won't come to a yoga class on Zoom because, they want to come in for the experience. How do you show them, all of the yoga moves? I mean, it's not that hard, but, that was her sort of thinking about it. And so I said, well, look, just set your, and it was an iPad that she had, just set your iPad up in front of you, and then you can do the yoga moves. If no one shows up, then nothing lost. Yeah. And she said, well, people won't pay for it. If we honest, no, just put the same price on. So she did. So we set up a page. We put the same price in that she'd normally charge, and sure enough, people registered. They paid the money. They came along. And so, and she was amazed at that there, that people would actually show up in Zoom. And so I said, that's great, isn't it? You didn't have to leave home, didn't have to go to your studio, didn't have to drive anywhere. So you've got less overheads. And in fact, you don't really need a studio, do you? You can just do it all from your lounge room there on a yoga mat. She didn't quite buy that. But anyway, we sort of moved with that. But here's the really surprising thing about it too, and it was a surprise to her, is that, with the yoga studio, you might get maximum people coming in from, say, 5 kilometres away. People just don't travel any further than that really to go to a studio. So it's a very local business. But by getting herself online, she got a bigger audience of people to come along. In fact, she got an international audience because one of her yoga instructors could speak Italian. And so somewhere over in Italy, people found them. And so they were doing yoga classes to Italy from this little place in Gold Coast. And so they were earning money in foreign currency now as well. And so they ended up having more customers coming along on, doing it online than they were in person. So, so she's making more money doing it. But that's not all. There's more to the story as well. So, so the other thing was thinking, well, how many people don't show up to the class because It doesn't suit them, in terms of time-wise, like work, or
yeah.
It's not convenient, whatever. And so we said, well, the good thing about Zoom is it's actually recorded all of your sessions. So why don't we put that up on the website in a membership site where people can pay, rather than per lesson, they just pay a monthly amount, and they've got access to all of the lessons, and they can watch it in their own time. So they can do it at, sort of 4 a.m. in the morning, 9 a.m. They can do it at midnight if they like. And so they get to control when they go to yoga. It's not you as the yoga instructor, controlling when they come in. So, so we did that. And then all of a sudden, she's getting subscribers signing up to the yoga classes, like Yoga on Demand. Now, this is nothing flash. So this is not like an app on a phone, which you can get as well too. This was just a website that had a membership portal in. People watch it on their mobile phones or their iPads, but they had access to a local yoga instructor, and they were happy to pay the monthly amount for it, which was less than what they would pay if they went along every day and paid the daily amount. And they had access to a whole lot more classes as well too. I don't think she's recording any more now, because she's just got this whole bank of videos classes up there on the membership site, and she makes more money out of the membership site than she did in the yoga classes. So there's another really simple way of
and there's even more to that, really. I always remember my background is hospitality, and I was an operations manager in one venue in particular that was by the water. Beautiful by the water, and it was quite funky, but people would come and have a swim, they get a fresh juice, they do all this sort of stuff. But we knew, well, hang on, these people are coming. It's a really hot day. They're on the beach. While we have them here, what else may they need? So we had little keyring things of sun cream. We had zinc. We had really funky teapots, and everyone kept saying, oh my God, they're amazing teapots. Can I have one? So we had teapots for sale. We had after sun lotion for sale, like all of those kind of things. So, with the lady you're talking about with yoga, she could actually be selling yoga mats now. She could be selling drink bottles, everything, all from just that one thing. While you're here, strategically, this beautiful bottle that she has, somebody says, oh, I love your yoga bottle. Oh, that's great. They're here for sale. So there's so much that it can build and grow, but just from that beginning, as you said.
Well, there's so many opportunities in people's businesses that they don't realize, that are just in front of their noses. And I sort of think it's like, you can't see the wood from the trees. You're in the business, you can't see all these opportunities. Sometimes you just need someone with a bit of creativity, or sort of a third party look at it to help you sort of see what some of these opportunities really are.
I heard a great metaphor for that. It was like, you can't see the label from inside the box.
Yes.
You have to, somebody has to be outside to see what the label is. You're in it, you don't know. So, okay, so there's some examples of people that have used it. So if somebody's watching this and they're going, oh my God, I want to start putting some of these things in place. So I would guess number one is you need to sometimes maybe get somebody else to have a look with you to unpack as to what that will be. But give us, a few ideas of what kind of things people may not be seeing, or how they could see what they're not seeing in order to start these strategies.
It's a really good question. One of the ways is, it may not be a really good way, but is a way to get started, and to look at what your competitors are doing. The reason why I say it's not a really good way is that you don't know whether it's successful with your competitors or not. So you don't want to replicate a strategy that's doesn't work at all. But that's one good way, is just have a look around, see what your competitors are doing, to give you some ideas. But even better than that is to go outside of your industry and have a look at what other totally unrelated businesses are doing that maybe generating them additional revenue, and then try and bring those into your business and think, how can I make this work in my business? What's an example of that? Subscription revenue, like everyone pays for stuff on subscription these days, like,
and they forget they're paying for it half the time.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So think about, what is something that you can introduce into your business that people need, that maybe you're currently selling at the moment, that maybe people would think about it on subscription. So and this one here, like we've got a client who does organic veggie boxes. So sends out an email, people come and order them. They've got to process the order. They've got to go to the market, just pick it up, and then so if someone else places an order and think, oh heck, we haven't got enough food or whatever, or we've ordered too much or too little. So one of the things we spoke with him about is, well, why don't you get people to pay on subscription, because that every week they're going to need vegetables because they've eaten it all. So they're going to need to top up, and so and that's probably a bit like the HelloFresh type of scenario as well too. Except without all the recipes, it's just the farmers market veggies, and so implementing that means that his revenue increases because now he's got regular, consistent income coming in.
Consistent revenue, yeah.
And if people sort of forget to order one week, well, they don't forget to order on subscription because they've paid it, and because they've paid it, they're going to turn up and pick up the box. So rather than forgetting to order it and then saying, oh well, missed out this time, I'll do it next week. So you get more income, you get more consistent income, and you can it's easier to plan your business around that and to grow and expand as well too. So so think about what's available on subscription. Another idea is to think about what sort of tools do you use in business that your clients would also need to use. So, for instance, a friend of mine who has a membership program, and it's for business. And, she runs small business expos, or virtual expos as part of that. And she's got a whole lot of sort of teaching and coaching and whatever inside all that. But what she's decided to do is she's able to get some software, some social media software, at wholesale rates, and she's bundled that in to her subscription program or a membership program as a free add-on. When they join. Now, the value of all of these, software, and they're really useful software. It's things like, defriending people on Facebook who've never interacted with you and are probably spams or things, or automatically, searching for people that are likely to be in your target market and adding them as friends or requesting our friend request to them. So it does all that in the background automatically, and which really helps to grow a business on that layer. But the value of these tools, if people that are in the membership program were to go out and get these tools themselves at retail rates, it would cost them more than it would the membership program, the value of the membership program, what they pay there. Yeah. So, so you're looking at what are high value things that cost you not a lot of money, but would cost them a lot of money. So there's another way of looking at it and generating it.
Yeah, amazing. And that's so true. And sometimes it's no extra value. For example, we've made a course on how to create video, the promo video blueprint. So the course is there. So it's an online course. It has a whole workbook and whatever. So our membership includes the course and then the weekly calls. And we've even thrown in now a half-day workshop every 4 to 6 weeks. That's all included in one price. So it becomes a no-brainer then to get people to, sign up and do it. And it's like, oh my God, you pay a ridiculous amount just for the full day workshop and you're getting all this other stuff. It makes it a no-brainer. They're amazing tips. So give us another one.
All right.
Throw us another one in there.
Now, I did have another one in the tip. Yes, that's it. Knowledge. Knowledge is the most underutilized. Knowledge, skills, and experience is the most underutilized, I suppose, asset that people have in business.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about a photographer. He's a really, really good headshot photographer, and he's just absolutely sensational at it. It makes me look like a rock star, and which is what I always.
You are a rock star, Nick. Come on.
Pity about the music side of things.
Well,
but again, he can only service sort of a local area. So sort of Gold Coast, Brisbane type of area. It doesn't travel interstate unless business is prepared to pay him to do it. And so there's lots and lots of photographers around the country. So what he's put together is a program, like an online course, to teach photographers how to take better headshots. Yeah. And the comment is from people is like, well, why would you do that? You're training your competitors. Aren't you going to do yourself out of business? And because he's training local ones as well too in his own patch. So so the philosophy it is a rising tide lifts all boats. So if you train your competitors to do a better job, there are better headshots that are out there in the market. People see them and go, wow. And instead of just looking like a deer in headlights sort of shot against a white wall there, you start to get these really good movie star type of shots. So so that encourages other people to go and get headshots. So not only is he getting more business because the market's been educated, so are all these other photographers as well too. So the industry is a whole lot better off for it, and so are we in terms of the marketing side of things. But more than that, it's he gets to use the moniker that he is the expert that the experts go to learn how to do their craft. So he's the photographer that professional photographers go to skill themselves up to take better headshots. So when you want the best, where do you go?
You go to him. You
go to him.
And of course, he's expanding, as you said, to other states and even other countries. Really, it's unlimited. He can expand to wherever to do that. So the few locals that may take away a few headshots, realistically, he's opened up the whole world. The world is such a small place in this online space now.
Oh, it is today. And to be able to head over to places like UK and US and earn in their currencies is... it's quite advantageous.
Yeah, pretty good. And it's funny actually because I have a webinar on soon, and I have people from the UK, Europe, or whatever that have logged in as well. It's not a great time for the US, in fairness, but I do change them around because I have people from the US, from Europe, from England, from Ireland, and all over Australia, and it's just phenomenal that you can have all those people on one call.
I know, and how small is the world to do it?
Yeah. Now, thank you for sharing those strategies, and I'm going to share your details in a few minutes. So if somebody wants to get hold of you as well, because I know just from talking to you, number one, you are very, very generous with your information and support, Nick, and always have been. That has been my experience of you. So thank you for that. So if anyone wants to contact Nick, please do. I'll put his details up shortly. But you mentioned something earlier when you were talking about where you started way back then. And, even this idea of an email was, kind of, oh my God, no, we can't. Tell me, and I know this is a big question, what do you find the difference now between marketing then to marketing now? Like, what's the biggest differences?
Well, there's not much actually, because we're dealing people to people. So, the differences are really the tools that we use. But marketing is really all about, communication, building relationships, and that old thing that everyone's probably heard, which is, know, like, trust. So that, you're attracting people in that want to do business with you. And ideally, you want them to ask you, how do I buy this, rather than you saying, come and buy this. So I think the biggest differences is one, noise. So, maybe sort of 10 years or so back, it was, they talk about touch points. So touch points are the number of times people have to see you, feel you, hear you, before they, really start to, know who you are and would consider you as an option to buy from. And that used to be around 5 to 7 touch points. So that could be like they've gone to your website, they might have seen an email, you might have had a phone call with them. So it's only 5 to 7 generally before they make a buying decision. And to win the game there, back then, like most follow-up, if businesses followed up, some never did. Some might follow up 2 or 3 times. If you followed up 7 times, then you're almost guaranteed to get the business. So the biggest difference is today, the latest stat that I heard is that the number of touch points that people need in order to make a decision is 27.
Yeah.
So it's not 7, it's 27. And so you might think, wow, that's a daunting task to, be able to have to contact someone, or sort of that they see you 27 times. But that's why it's so important to be highly visible in the online and digital world, because that's how they get their touch points. So if they see you on YouTube, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, website, email, TikTok, all of those sort of things there, very quickly it adds up to those 27 touch points. So that's why it's really important to have a strategy for your communication and your digital marketing in business, so that you're not deliberately sort of thinking, I've got to send them a TikTok video, I've got to make a video, or I've got to do sort of 27 posts this week, sort of thing. So you're not thinking about that. What you've got is a system in place that every week is consistently producing their content, so that you get into the position where you do dominate the first 8 pages of Google, where you get sort of like I have over the past few weeks, getting sort of into the 3 figures for comments on Facebook, and engagements, your likes and some loves and all that sort of thing there. So, but that comes down to strategy. It just doesn't happen overnight. You've got to be in there consistently doing over and over and over again. If you do
consistency is the key. Absolutely. I remember at one stage, so I got the nickname of Carmel everywhere, because they were going, holy God, I'm just seeing you everywhere. It's like, well, it must be working then. And that consistency and showing up, even if you're doing paid ads or Google ads or anything like that, you also need to have the presence online, because the first thing somebody's going to do is go and search for you and try and find you. Who is this person that I saw this here? So tell me your thoughts on the change in the use of video within marketing these days.
Well, if you're not using it, you're missing out on a massive opportunity. So not only you're missing out, you're putting yourself at a serious disadvantage. So video is not a I'd like to, I should consider it. It is a must. And the reason for that is you just need to look at the social media platforms, and you see that the fastest growing social media platform is TikTok, and that there is all video. And you might think, well, who watches that? There are only young kids that watch it. But that's not true. There are business coaches on there. There are established businesses on there. There are businesses that pay big money to advertise on there as well too. And even if it was only young kids that are on it, those young kids grow up to be big kids that grow up to be adults. They go and get married. They go and have kids. So, they go through their whole cycle of life, but parents are on it as well too, because their kids are on it and they want to see what their kids are up to, or their kids, if they're like mine, they come and sort of show them some TikTok videos, or as TikTok's got a very clever strategy of allowing their videos to be shared off the platform onto platforms like Facebook. And so on Facebook, you see these TikTok videos. So you might think that, TikTok's not your platform, but if they get onto Facebook and onto LinkedIn, then you definitely need to be on a platform like that. So video is a big thing. And you look at Facebook Reels. So they've brought in video with Facebook Reels. And that's the fastest growing medium on Facebook. At the moment, it's in free phase. They're introducing some sponsored ads and whatever into it. Now's a good time to be in, because you don't have to pay. At some point, they're going to lock it down and it's going to be paid to put them up.
Yeah. And even YouTube has shorts now. So you can see they're all competing against each other. So YouTube has shorts as well, which are the same as Reels, Instagram, and all of that. Because Instagram Reels, they were there before the Facebook Reels were. So you can see them all. And I think that it was the CEO of Instagram at one stage said, I think it was 12 to 18 months ago, that the more video that's there, that they will be favoring video over still images. Yep,
absolutely. And that is happening on social media already, even on LinkedIn. It's happening there as well.
Yeah, too. LinkedIn was one that, it was funny. LinkedIn was never one that was very video orientated at all. And I've noticed that more and more video, it's almost becoming a little bit more like a Facebook of older,
Yep.
with and less businessy. It's still businessy, but less businessy, and a little bit more of the social media has come into LinkedIn. Would you agree with that?
I've heard it described that LinkedIn is back where Facebook was around about 2014. So
Yes.
that's where the opportunity is. So if you think back to Facebook back then and how easy it was to get all the reach, that's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So if you really want that reach, LinkedIn's a great platform to be on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to say that, in terms of the posts that we put up on LinkedIn, our most engaging posts that get the most amount of comment, follows, and reaction are videos.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree totally. If you're not doing video, and video seems to be scary to a lot of people because they think they have to put their face to camera and do lives or whatever. And there's so many other ways of doing video too, that you don't actually have to do a live. As long as you have a really clear, good message, and that's the strategy behind it, you can really bring, I like the term moving stories for two reasons. It's a moving story as in like a movie, but it can be a moving story as in a heart space. It can bring you down here, it can bring you up there if you do it well. And, I'm able to do the techie on it. Oh, my God. Who knew? So, Nik, it's been amazing. I think we could talk for another 2 hours. But I'm going to pop up on the screen your Facebook page. So this is Nik's personal page himself. I don't know if there's any room for any more friends, but I'm sure it's like mine, that is public, and people can probably message you through there anyway, even if they can't be friends.
I've got space for about 200 more friends before I have to start doing some culling. So get in now.
The culling is just, oh my goodness. It takes so long to actually work it out, but that's fine. And also the group that you have. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the group? So I looked for your group, and this is the link here, although it's 10,000 numbers, but it's called Business Owners Smashing It Online. Did you want to share with us a little bit about that group?
Yeah, actually, if you do go to Facebook and just type in Business Owners Smashing It Online, it'll come up as well too.
I have a better. Yeah, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about it while I do this.
But what it is it's this is the basis of our webinar, which has been going for about 5 years now. It used to be live, some physical events. It is now a weekly webinar where we bring on guest speakers in the business and digital space. We get some amazing experts that come in and talk about, digital strategies, online marketing, difference of ways of using social media, what to do with your website, how to get more conversions, and a whole lot of ways of being online, being seen, being visible, how to make more money, how to save time. Time is the biggest thing. If we can get people to save time, that is the goal.
I know. I laugh at the what is it they say, that you're going to manage time, and I'm going, you can't put it in the corner and say, here, I'll come back and pick you up in 2 hours. It's right. The greatest illusion. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure that most of us didn't go into business to works of 60, 70, 80 hours a week with, I'm sure it was like me thinking, we'll just do 10 hours a week and then relax on the beach for the rest of the time.
But, with a pina colada,
Yeah. But often that doesn't happen, but it is a reality that it can happen. And it really just is how you run your business, the tools that you implement, and systems and processes you put in place. And Business Owners Smashing Online, that webinar series, is all about that, and helping businesses to get their time back, or business owners get their time back, make more money, and save on costs, and have a business that they really love, that works for them rather than them working for their business. So, but the Facebook group is part of that as well, and we've got people that post in there all sorts of tips and secrets and tricks, and as well as what they're up to, some events, interesting podcasts, and all sorts of that, business information is in there. So definitely, anyone is more than welcome to come along and join. And come and see the discussion, contribute to the discussion. It really is a very vibrant business group on Facebook.
Cool. Awesome. Nick, as I said, I'm sure we could talk for hours. Guys, contact Nick on his personal Facebook page. Alternatively, go and find Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook group and join there. But definitely contact this guy because he's full of amazing information, as you could see from today. So I want to say a huge thank you to Nick for joining me today. It's been my honor to have you here. And guys, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe. You're watching it on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, because it's going to be everywhere. Just make sure that you hit the thumbs up, ask us a question if you need to, and myself or Nick will make sure that we get that question answered for you. But for now, thank you so much for hanging out with me, Carmel, your host, and our amazing Nik Cree in Marketing Adventures with Carmel, and we'll see you next